Hello, you're listening to Questboard, a podcast where we make up random side quests. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Tiffany. Just so you know, we are not professional writers in any way, shape, or form. At least we don't claim to be. We just really like tabletop RPGs, and we do this for fun.
How are you, Tiffany?
I'm doing well.
That's good. Been doing anything fun?
Not this week, really. No, just kind of hanging out, playing video games. I've been really into Minecraft again recently.
I recently finally bought the Pathfinder 2nd Edition core rulebook
That's exciting.
because I always tried to learn new RPG systems.
Is it actually 400 pages, or was that just a weird glitch that I had?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I know I gave you like the digital copy or something like that.
Yeah, I found a digital copy, and it was like 400 pages long, and that was a lot to manage.
Yeah.
But I can see it there on the shelf, and it looks like it's about 400 pages long.
It's funny because like when I first started playing tabletop RPGs, it was back in college.
Ah, the good old days.
Yeah, in which I played 3.5. That was my introduction to role-playing games. And then after one short campaign of that, a different friend of mine was running a Pathfinder game, which was just basically 3.5, but with guns. And I'm like, cool, guns.
Everybody loves guns.
And so I played a little bit of that. And then after college, I had to move back to my hometown and all that stuff. And then I didn't play tabletop RPGs until I joined your group, Tiffany. And then I started learning 5th edition, which was a lot simpler.
Yeah, they simplified a lot of stuff. They actually made it really cohesive on some things. Because the first time I ever played D&D, I was playing 4th edition.
Oh, God.
And, right? I barely remember that experience at all. We went over to one of my friend's houses, who was actually kind of a friend of mine, too. I just didn't know them as well. And we had a great time. I remember there were some of the inside jokes. That's about it. I don't remember any of the adventure at all.
Well, that's usually how friend groups go, right?
Yeah.
It's just like you make inside jokes.
Right.
In which if a new player joins it and they're super confused.
Yeah. And then quite a few years later, I joined a group with the same friend who brought me into that group and her younger brother, who was DMing this, except it was Pathfinder. So I guess GMing is the term they use, Game Master in that.
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, whatever they use. Keeper? No,
that's Monster of the Week. Yeah.
Anyway, I joined that group and we had a blast. I do remember that storyline. It was fantastic. I got grabbed by every monster because our GM found out that I will poke everything. And if he puts a giant rock in the way, I would try to push it out of the way. And oh, surprise, it's a giant rock crab. It grabbed me.
Was it a rock lobster?
No, rock crab.
But yeah, when I was reading over that core rulebook, I was like, oh, very comparing it to 5th edition. And I was like, I forgot how much like feats, like they went on a feat direction.
It's feat heavy.
Yeah, it's just like every level, you're pretty much choosing a feat from a list of feats, whether it's your background, your class, or just general feats, just to customize. And I think that's a very interesting way of customizing it. I really want to play it. Find a group who's willing to like play and like learn together.
Yeah.
Which sometimes people don't want to learn a whole new system, so it's kind of hard.
Right. They're safe with their system that they do know.
I'm trying to do this just to broaden my horizon, especially when we do this podcast, because we always lean towards 5th edition.
Right. I would like to lean towards like other, what are they called? Like base games? Other, what do you call them? Like there's 5th edition D&D, Pathfinder.
The D20 systems?
No, just like other, I guess, systems. Yes?
Yeah, you're talking about like, Call of Cthulhu,
Monster of the Week,
Pathfinder, Tales of Valiant. That's not exactly out. The one that Critical Role's doing.
Oh, yeah.
I think theirs is based off of, Obscura, I think is his name, but it's based off of like Knives in the Dark.
Yeah.
City of Mist, I was looking into that.
And then there's those really old ones I gave you called Rifts of Runeterra.
Yeah, I haven't even read those.
I know, but they sound cool.
But yeah, there's so many that it's nice to like broaden our horizon. I find learning different systems to fit the world that I want to do the most.
Right.
But a lot of people don't want to bother learning whole new systems.
Yeah, and sometimes it could get confusing if you're remembering one rule from one, which is drastically different from another.
Yeah.
It does get a little confusing sometimes.
You have
especially
to
for
find
people
a
like
group
me.
that's patient
Yes.
about that.
Patience is important. Honestly, in any group.
Well, we'll see if this week's quest is going to be in 5th edition or not.
I guess. Yeah.
You got dice?
Oh, I got them. 96.
96. Oh, we haven't done 96.
Surprisingly.
96. Victimus, investigators of loot extraction, is seeking henchmen for transportation of merchandise. Some risk is involved. Must be capable of intercepting and stopping pursuers. If interested, head to the Church of Sant Diego and ask for Carmen.
This has evil written all over it.
Why do we have we keep getting obscure, really bad evil ones?
Well, victimless instigators of loot extraction. If you make an acronym out of that, it's vile.
Didn't think about that. Oh my God. That's hilarious. I think that was the point.
I think it is the point. The transportation of merchandise. I am so surprised merchandise doesn't have quotes around it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Merchandise. Some risk involved, must be capable of intercepting and stopping pursuers. Why would people be pursuing you? This is totally smugglers or thieves.
It reminds me of a D&D story I've heard where the party encounters a person that's I'm the prince of this kingdom that was overthrown and all that stuff. So I need your help to reclaim my throne. So the party helps him out and all that stuff. And then when he reclaimed his throne, he made the party generals of commanders of his army and all that stuff, high ranking positions. And then he keeps asking them, it's hey, can you there's a few rebellions that's still under the leadership or followers of the old regime that overthrew me, that we overthrew. Can you squash them? And they help squash them. It's okay, well, then they go off and do something. And then they come back later in the campaign and find these towers and by city in their cities and all that stuff. And the king tells them, we're using that to keep an eye on possible rebellions or to help transport troops faster so we can help the people. And then it got to where it's oh, I even got special new armors for the party, and it's all black armor. And then every time they go through towns, people avoid them and things like this and that. In which it was the party was the bad guys of the evil lord's army. But every time that they insight checked him, he was telling the truth about his perspective because that's what he really believed.
Right.
He believed he was doing good.
Yes.
And them insight checking him and saying he was telling the truth.
Yeah.
They believed they were doing good. And this might be just a lame story, and we probably could think of a better twist.
Maybe.
But what happens if this is the situation like that where the party truly believes that it's oh, this is just a victimless investigators of loot extractions.
Instigators.
Oh, sorry. Victimless instigators of loot extraction. Seeking enhancement just to transport merchandise, and they truly believe that.
Even their use of the word henchman, though.
Yeah, but you know what I'm the direction I'm going for.
Yes.
It's kind of boring.
It's it actually is good. They didn't think about the acronym.
Yeah.
They don't know, the way you didn't realize at first. They don't realize it spells vile.
I think we could think of a better twist, but that was my first toss because it made me instantly think of that.
Or maybe vile is someone's name.
I think it works better if it's an organization, isn't it?
No, I'm saying the person who named the organization was I'll make a acronym out of my name. Doesn't realize that it's actually, vile.
Okay, so are we going in a direction where everyone believes that they're innocent?
I don't know. Because, I saw it right away. So I feel your average party member might see it right away, too. They might see, hey, wait a sec, that spells that. They're saying henchman, victimless. What do you mean by victimless?
Yeah, it's phrased in a way that's a normal person would, or normal player would be questionable about it.
Right. It's I questioned this right away. I'm hold up, something feels off.
Why do we keep getting these questionable ones
I know.
recently?
I still think it's funny if they have no idea how sus they sound.
Now, we talked about that, was it the last episode? No, it's a few episodes ago. The one where they were going for that scam, and then they got arrested, falsely arrested.
Oh, the pyramid scam.
Yeah, it's that level of did you really join this job offering that sounds super sketchy?
Right.
You expect us to not believe that you didn't think it was bad?
I know. But I don't know. These people could be just that innocent and unknowing. I mean, they are your typical villagers, possibly. I don't know. What sort of world did you want to put this in?
I have no idea. I could also think about
Because seeing the word henchman makes me think of like mafia type stuff.
I was thinking about weapons if this is set in the world. I'm trying to not make it super evil, but like it's that gray area of evil.
Yeah.
Weapons if this is set in where there's a war between two kingdoms,
Okay.
in which this is like a mercenary group, vile mercenary group, where they do this kind of work, where it's victimless instigators of loot extraction because they raid the other kingdom's villages for supplies for their armies.
Hey, that's causing victims.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's the same concept of the exact same thing, but basically it's to steal supplies like invading armies did in the past,
Right.
where they steal supplies just to provide for their own army, and they really destroy a lot of like villages and farms and all that stuff.
They really did.
But what happens if it's like a mercenary group that does it themselves? That
Maybe.
gets hired by a kingdom.
There's that. I was thinking this could possibly just be a Knives in the Dark thing, where the main, like, you're playing as the bad guys in that.
I don't know that game system as well as you do.
Oh. So Knives in the Dark is all about the next heist. You're part of a crime group.
So you're saying like this will go into an evil campaign?
Yes.
Whether it's Knives in the Dark or just any tabletop group.
Of course,
is
for that,
evil.
this is, if it's that, then this is just a straightforward, guard the payload type of quest.
Yeah. Or joining a organization for connections or anything like that. Are we going to do that, or are we going to do a just like this is a one-time just job? And then what happens in the quest job?
I think it's more fun if the characters are good.
But then
And they have to figure out, oh, this is evil.
But then, like you said, they're going to know it right in the beginning with the whole acronym.
That is true. Which is why earlier I was saying, but what if they're not actually evil? They're just named very suspiciously. Because, like, maybe they are victimless instigators of loot extraction. And
okay,
this
what is that? Hang on. If we take the approach where they're actually doing good things, and they're good people, where they don't actually rob people,
right?
What would you say they do that would like victimless instigators of loot extraction? What would that describe as that's something that's good and actually innocent?
Either transporting artifacts from an archaeological dig, or it is freely given. So it is donated by a village.
The first one gave me inspiration.
Ooh.
They're dungeon divers.
Yeah. And they've picked up more loot than they can carry.
But then what would that... okay, so intercepting and stopping pursuers would just be bandits?
Yeah, totally be bandits. Because they've just gone through like an ancient temple. And there is more loot than they can carry. And it's all highly valuable items that needs to be in a museum.
I think the party would be a little bit disappointed that it's like, oh, we don't get to go dungeon diving.
That's true.
Or is it like you said, is it where they hire people and then they take them to the site where they're already unloading stuff and then they just need to help load it and then because it's already taken care of and then they just need to go? Or is it going to be where, hey, we're in the middle of trying to like get through and thoroughly check out this dungeon, where the party could help finish off the dungeon and then carry out the rest?
That is always interesting. Like,
which one do you want to do? At least we thought of an innocent version of this.
Yeah. The posting does say for transportation of merchandise. So they've already got it. They've already brought it out of the temple or wherever it is that they are. And they've probably got it all at their base camp under guard, but they don't have enough people to either carry it and or load it up and guard it.
Yes, technically it says transportation of merchandise. But what if we have it where they go to the location and the part of the job is going in there to carry the stuff out?
Transportation, yeah.
And then what happens while in there, something possibly happens?
Oh, there's dangerous things in there. Yeah.
No, well, if they're transporting things out, that means that they already cleared out the quote-unquote dangers.
Right.
Either it's traps or monsters or anything like that.
Okay.
But what happens if the floor collapses to reveal another compartment that wasn't explored before? Or usually, well, I hate using 5th edition, but there's a monster in 5th edition where it's like the Ember Hulk. It's a burrowing creature that
Is it
burrows.
Ember Hulk or Umber Hulk?
Umber, I think it was Umber.
Okay.
Where it burrows through rock and like has tremor sense. What happens if like something like that just barges in because it's hearing all the footsteps of people going in and out,
Mm-hmm.
and then that gives the party at least something.
Okay. So here's my thought. They have the treasure chamber identified, and they want the party to come in and help
Carry
things out. Their reward for doing this is any treasure they find outside of that treasure chamber, they can keep.
Okay, so you're saying that the victimless instigators of loot extraction, I have to look at the paper every time.
I know.
They found the single path and they only stick to that path.
Well, no, they feel like they've cleared the whole temple. If there's any secret passages or hidden doors that they have missed that the party stumbles upon, then
What
that's
happens if
free
they
reign.
do that to be mean because like they think, oh, we already got everything.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, if you find anything, and it could be like scraps or stuff
Right.
like that.
They'll probably still pay them if they help transport it as well, like after the fact. But since they're sending them into the temple, they're like, yeah, anything else you find, you can grab.
What happens if they treat the party like interns?
Ooh.
Oh, if you do this, then there's a chance that you'll get a full-time position in this company.
Mm-hmm.
This is for experience and exposure.
Oh, gosh. Interns are treated so bad sometimes. Okay.
If you would like to be an intern for Questboard,
We won't treat you badly.
not that badly.
You'll get audio and video editing experience.
Change that. Tiffany won't treat you that badly.
Yeah, good point there. I bring tea.
I'm the boss. I'll be like that one boss from Office Space. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
There's a lot of memes of it where the guy's like leaning against like the cubicle wall with a mug. He's like, if you could like have that done in 2 hours, that'd be great.
Yeah, that does sound like you.
Just because I want some of our YouTube videos to be done in a timely manner does not mean.
Hey, I am 2 weeks ahead now. Back off.
If we could record this Monday, that'll be great.
I'm at home dying in my own bed.
Okay, I'm not that heartless. But if it was an intern, maybe, yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe just a little bit. I would still give them tea.
Even though they could be like across the country or wherever, because it would be a telecommuting job.
I would ship tea to them.
You would drive tea to them.
No.
Oh, there's your line, huh?
I mean, shipping, someone else is doing all the driving. I don't have to.
Anyways, tangent over. Please work for us.
Or help us.
Yeah, you won't be paid though. We're broke.
Yeah, we aren't even paid for this yet. Someday.
What were we talking about before this?
Loot. Extraction.
That's right. The party might be treated like they won't get paid, but then it's like, hey, you're paid in whatever you find in this dungeon besides
What we found.
the treasure room.
And everything.
But they know that they already like grabbed everything, so they know that they're not being paid that lot.
And everything they have already found has been tagged and documented.
No, like they already grabbed it and like put it in the treasure room before they came in.
No, but like they put like little identifier tags on them. So like they're saying everything we've tagged is what we want you to bring out. And they've already documented everything. So if someone were to try to like take a tag off me, like, oh, hey, I found this. They're like, we know what that is.
I think it'd be easier if it's just they already took it from the anything outside of it. So it's like when you go over, you open the chest, there's just nothing. It's not like there's a bunch of just tags and document like that kind of thing.
Okay.
I think it'd be easier representation where if it's just gone because they already took it. And so it has a better sense of like you're really grabbing for scraps.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm trying to make it so like the people who have like already gone through the temple and stuff, they don't do any heavy lifting. They aren't carrying any of this out. They're like, oh yes, I've already identified these items and things. Can you just carry them out for me?
Okay. Now I see what approach you're going for.
Yeah.
I bet if there's like full-time transporters and then the intern transporters.
No, I think these people just don't have transporters at all. And they're just calling in a big, strong party to carry their stuff out.
Okay, I do see what you're going at. It just sounds a little weird to me of like the clearing party going in is like, okay, sticker, and then write down what on sticker and all that stuff for everything they come across within the dungeon.
Have you not watched archaeology shows? That's exactly what they do.
Do you think
They
dungeon
don't
diving
move.
adventurers are archaeologists?
I'm saying these aren't dungeon diving adventurers. These are archaeologists.
That is capable of killing and going through traps.
Maybe they initially did send a party through and they all died.
What? Okay. What if these are like more manager type people where they only stay outside and they're the ones taking, but they sent in adventurers to clear it. And then they promised the adventurers anything that's outside of the treasure room that they collect is theirs.
Okay.
And then whatever in the treasure room, it's the companies, quote unquote companies.
Right.
And so then they promised the transporters whatever's outside as well, but they got second pickings basically.
Right.
Maybe that'll be better.
I like that. So the initial party that already cleared everything, are they still alive? Or did they all die in a terrible, horrible
It's
way?
either they died, but then they would have hired a second party to fully clear it.
Or only one of them survived and made it back out and be like, okay, I cleared the place, but everyone's dead. I don't know what to do with myself anymore.
And they'll be like, okay, it's cleared. That's all we want.
Yeah. And then they're like, I'm retiring.
But then like any party that already cleared it, I think that was their job and then they're done and they just take the riches and go.
Yeah.
And so the party would be like, they would come in after the venturing party already left because that was all done. And so they're just transport.
So this would probably be a pretty early on type of thing. Maybe even possibly a fun way to give everyone in your party something cool if they find a thing outside of the treasure room.
Well, if they're early level, then yeah, that could just be a simple job and they could find something unique or obscure. But if you want to do this for higher, that's when like the Umber Hulk comes in because that requires higher level because I think that one's challenge rank 5.
Oof.
Or like there's like those smaller ones that spit acid or something like that. They're like challenge rating like 3 or 2. So it's like a little bit higher, but they usually travel in packs.
Right.
But still, if they actually have some level to them, then you could toss in monsters or it's something that will happen in the middle of it.
You can throw in some scarabs like from the Mummy.
I was thinking like possibly burrowing ones because the initial party would have cleared everything.
Yeah, I know those burrow. You've watched the Mummy, right?
They burrow into people's skin.
And they also burrowed under the sand.
Okay, but sand is different from rock.
I know. I'm saying some of the floor in the temple could be sand. Or maybe they do.
What is sand but loose rock?
Yeah, there you go. Maybe,
I had to come up with your argument for you.
Thank you. No, maybe they do burrow into rock. Maybe they're like, I don't know, was it elemental plane of earth beetles or something?
That sounds horrible. But
yeah, it does.
Actually, what happens if like going on the Mummy reference, you know how they like first were introduced, right? The guy was picking them off the wall. So what happens if the party did that just to get extra money because it's very slim pickings?
Exactly.
And then they got the swarm of beetles.
So I've been watching this anime recently. It has, well, it's got 2 titles because it's got its original Japanese title, which I do like better, Dungeon Meshi. But it also has the Netflix title that Netflix gave it, Delicious in Dungeon.
Nope, never heard of it.
I highly recommend it. It's very good. A little bit of a spoiler here for one of the episodes. They find some treasure, I did air quotes there, which turns out to be various bugs. Like there's coins that if you flip it over, you can see the little feet and stuff. Some of the gems are also little bugs and that crawl around. There was a pearl necklace that if you look a little bit closer to that, there's legs sticking out between each pearl and it's like a centipede. So I don't know, it's like it's treasure that is...
Do you think the adventurers would pick that up?
Adventurers would totally pick up treasure.
I'm saying the first, not the player transport team.
Maybe the first group actually knew what they were.
Or that.
And not to touch them. Or that's what got the first group.
But then they would have hired a second group.
All but one of them.
You're really on the all but one of them.
I mean, if one person still makes it back out to collect, be like, all right, we cleared it. I'm the only survivor. It's cleared though.
And they would have taken all the money, all the treasure anyways. So it's still like, it's either way.
Maybe there's more. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's a thing.
I was going to say something. I completely forgot what it was.
Sorry, did I distract you with gem bugs?
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was.
Yay.
What happens if they just leave a bag of devouring because they know what it is?
Oh, shoot. That would be evil.
Because
and also,
it looks like a bag of holding, but then the players will be like, that's a really good item. Why would they leave that?
Yeah. It does have a slightly different face on it. If you've ever looked up what a bag of holding looks like, it's actually kind of fugly. It's got this weird face on it.
Well, it's in the description. It says that it looks exactly like a bag of holding.
Oh, well, all the pictures of it looks different.
But then I don't know. That's the point of that is just to be a cursed version of
Yeah.
the bag of holding
Everything you put in it
or
just
bag
gets
of
devoured.
devouring. Yeah.
I always laugh about the bag they have in Critical Role, the bag of colding.
I think you told me about this once. I can't remember.
Yeah, it keeps all their meat cold.
Oh,
Preserves
that's
it for long periods of time.
Which campaign was up?
Their first one, actually.
Okay.
The Vox Machina.
I have not listened to any Critical Role.
It's good stuff. I've listened to just a little bit of all of them. Mostly, I've listened to Vox Machina.
After, God, even though I don't listen to it, I know of like infamous beginning part with a specific character.
Yes, I listened to that too.
Oh, you listened to that?
Mhm.
Okay. Really funny story about that. I got a friend of mine into D&D.
Yeah.
Real proud of it, but he started listening to Critical Role, and
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, oh, I have to tell him like anything that happens in there doesn't happen in real life.
Right.
Like my parents tell me like things you could do in video games you can't do in real life.
Yeah.
But he was listening, and then he looked up online. It's like, oh, everyone says start at episode 29.
Yeah.
And then after he listened to the first, like that season or that campaign, he went back to listen to those first episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes to me, it's like, he had basically imposter syndrome, where afterwards he's like, I understand why no one liked him or like why a lot of people had an issue with him. And then he was worried that he had those like traits.
Oh, no.
And I thought, okay, that is like a nice thing to worry about, but not to overthink.
Yeah.
But at least he's like not the oblivious type of like, oh God, I don't do that when he really does that.
Right. Anyway, back to the actual quest we're supposed to be figuring out.
Yeah, we really need to figure out this quest.
Okay. So there's a temple. Do we want it to be like a cool pyramid or like a temple carved into a wall? What kind of temple is this?
I love how you lean
Or
towards
artifact.
temple where
I just keep saying temple. It can be something else too.
It's a dungeon. It could be any dungeon that fits anything.
Okay.
Because if this is just a company that manages about clearing dungeons and moving the artifacts within, that could be any dungeon.
Okay.
That could be a lich's dungeon. It could be like a actual like ancient temple for like a dying god or anything. It's very much in between whatever the game master wants to put in.
Okay. So
That suddenly reminded me. What happens if it's like an ancient temple for a dead god, and then that item that gets pulled that they have to protect transporting
oh shoot.
then leads down the road? That is up for the game master to decide, but that is something
this is totally
I just
where
love.
totally where you can put like game defining artifacts that will completely reshape things.
This is slightly turning into a party starter.
Ever so slightly, yes.
It's like a little bit of a hybrid.
Slight hybrid.
But yeah, besides that, I think that's very much depending on the game master.
True. They can
Flavor, what's in it, possible things that they could
okay.
find, or any interactions like burrowing enemies or anything like that.
Right. So really the party is just there to transport the loot from inside the dungeon, specifically the treasure room,
to the caravan,
and then guarding the caravan on their trip wherever they're going.
Yes. And on the way, attacked by bandits or wolves or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if like you want to put something important in there or use as a catalyst for a different quest or a grander quest, I think that's a good transition.
It is.
But yeah, this is very much like a little bit of a party starter / early campaign.
It could be
quest.
a party starter, or if you want to put in the burrowing like Umber Hulk or any other things that show up after the fact, it can be a further on type of thing. Like it can really pop in anywhere.
I think it could be. I think it'll be. I think possibly best if it was like not exactly beginning, but like levels 3 to 5, where the party has been around each other to know each other well enough to actually be a cohesive group, and then something like that happens, and that would start kick off the grand campaign. Because in the beginning, you're just like doing odd jobs, and it's not like really coherent.
Right. You're still learning your parties, the ins and outs of working together. Anyone's backstory, that anything they've been hiding. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a quest.
Yeah.
We do have social medias.
Just
Twitter.com at QuestBoardPod or on YouTube at QuestBoardPod.
You mean X? instead of Twitter?
I've been calling it Twitter, and I will continue calling it Twitter. If you put this in your campaign, or if you have a job posting of your own that you want to submit to us to make a quest out of, let us know on either of those social medias. I think with that, I wish you all a good night.
And happy questing.